Boys.
Brother-mingos.
How are we all? Are we all well?
Fantastic. Feeling fresh being back from death.
Welcome home, Joe.
Welcome
Yes,
home,
I've come
Joey.
home. The return.
The return of the king.
Yes, I went down to Nannup.
Nannup.
Down Nannup ways.
How does the Bellina go on Nannup Road?
It does.
First trip with the Belline?
Nah.
No. Last year when I went in September, I went on a big road trip in the Bellino.
Yeah, remember?
Down
All
to
the-
Denmark.
And Joe refused to wash the red dirt off it.
Oh,
for the
that's
whole of summer.
right. It
So
was
now
incognito mode.
So now it's soaked into the paint.
Yeah. How does the Bellina go? Because it's, for those playing along at home, a Bellino. Is it Bellina or
Yeah,
Bellino?
Bellino. It's
Suzuki
a manly
Bellino.
car. It ends with an O.
I don't think it does.
Bellina.
I think it's a Bellina, isn't
I love
it?
it. No, it's a Bellino.
It's a little car. Imagine like a i20.
Toy. Okay, yeah,
a,
a
Hy-
i20.
a Hyundai i20, like pretty small car.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Especially to be taking like on some of the hectic roads throughout the Nullarbor of WA.
The Bellino will go anywhere.
Yeah. It's not about the size, it's about how you drive it. And I drive it well and safely. That's right.
Nice, dude.
No crashes. I almost hit a kangaroo.
It would kill the Bellina.
It would kill me.
It would kill most cars, I think, a kanga.
Yeah.
But the Bellino in particular. Most kangaroos are bigger than the Bellino.
But it might be able to jump over the Bellino. Maybe the
Yeah,
Bellino
true, yeah.
has a advantage.
The
in
Bellino's
this
so small it could probably go like in
Through the-
between its pouch. Like just
yeah, well, that's the thing. I had parked it in the pouch. But yeah, I was driving. It was a twilight. It was dusk,
Okay.
dare I say.
Dusking.
And I saw 3 kangaroos like on the road.
And you sped up.
they were
Yeah.
they were standing.
Standing, yeah.
Nice. Rare.
Jumping past. It was pretty scary. I'd never seen them on the road before. Normally they're having a little nap.
Like I've seen them on the road, but I've never seen them. That's why I checked.
Yeah.
They're not normally vertical.
Yeah, when I went to Geraldton over the summer, like when you're in the middle of like nowhere driving, and they've been hit, obviously probably a couple months ago, and like the decomposing of them all, like sometimes they'd have the top half of the body would be skeleton, and the bottom half is still there.
Yeah, a bit of anatomy lessons.
Yeah.
Of the old kangas.
Oh, wow.
It's a bit like that shot of Gus Fring in Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
half that's still fine, and the other half is
Skiffy.
Yeah,
Cut into 2. We also saw emus.
Right.
Yeah, emus. I feel like emus are kangaroos you see all the time, see them at golf and stuff.
Yep.
But emus are a lot rarer.
Yeah.
And we saw ones out. We sort of had like the balcony looking onto a bit of nature.
Oh.
And we saw 2 emus running around.
Very nice.
Very nice.
They
And-
terrify me more than
Yeah.
kangaroos scare me,
You guys know about the
and
great?
emu would shit me.
You know about the Great Emu War?
Yes, I do.
Does Jake know about the Great Emu War?
No,
You never heard?
no.
Do you want to get into it?
Well, I vaguely know the story. I know they're coming out with a movie about it.
Oh, actual.
Yeah, there's like a actual like TV movie coming out about it. I heard it on radio a couple weeks ago. They were promoting it, but Australia went to war with emus.
Yep, war on emus. This was
When was this? 1900s?
ages. Yeah, potentially 1800s, like back in the day.
Yeah, and it was back when we didn't used to have automatic firearms. They were
Okay,
like
shotguns.
or like
Yeah.
Kar 98s. So you had to like reload and clock every time.
Yeah.
So when we were on the firing arms trying to shoot, there was like thousands of emus that were like running.
Yeah, they were
toward-
trying to. I think the emus were potentially causing chaos to the crops or something, and there was too many of them, and they were like, "We need to sort out these birds."
So we sent the military to take them all out, and then because we didn't have automatic firearms at the time, the emus won,
yeah, the emus won.
and Australia lost the war against the emus. It's like a big story.
like soldiers died at the hands.
I don't know if anyone died.
Because like usually if you lose a war, there's casualties. Like
yeah, I don't think anyone died, but definitely like stuffed up crops or farms or something.
Yeah.
I'm not 100%.
yeah, it doesn't sound
Yeah.
like you are. Maybe
But
do some
all I
research
know-
and bring it back.
All I know is that Australia lost the war against the emus.
And as a result, we had to put them on the.
Yeah, we put them on
Coat
the
of
coat of
arms.
Yeah,
arms.
this is their country.
Initially we had a man, and then we went, no, emus are tougher than them. Chuck
Yeah.
one of them up.
I'm glad we've been talking about the wildlife because wildlife is a big thing about going down, and they have a very special tiger
Ooh.
that lives in Nannup.
Do we have
It's called-
tigers?
It's called the Nannup Tiger. Its scientific name is the thylacine,
Oh.
also known as the Tasmanian tiger.
Oh.
And it lived in Tasmania after it went extinct thousands of years ago.
Okay.
It went extinct on the mainland thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
They died in the wild in the 1930s in Tasmania, and the last one died in the Tasmanian Zoo in the 1980s.
Yeah.
But the locals of Nannup claim to see the Nannup Tiger, which is a thylacine, or
Okay.
potentially a pack of them. And there's like, you go in and there's like statues of these tigers. Around.
Okay.
They look more like, it's more like a little dingo kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not like a,
Yeah, not a big
not like
animal.
Life of Pi.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's kind of like Bigfoot kind of situation where like the locals will say they've seen it and they've seen the footprints and stuff, and there's like a museum thing for it
Yeah.
and statues and all this like shit about it. Like, a lot of shirt, like
Brochures,
shirts,
yeah.
Are
mugs.
they selling merch
Tours.
about this thing that may or may
Yeah.
not exist?
There probably is a tour. Like
There
to
is, yeah.
Search for
You
it.
can go on the Nannup Tiger Walk. Like, it's all this stuff, and I was like, oh, they're like.
They've lost it.
Yeah, these guys are nuts, man. I was like, oh, they must be like sort of pulling your leg kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, it would be cool if it was real, but nowadays it's just kind of like, if it was real, silly, like
There's a photo.
scientists would have found, photo, like no photos, like there's a lot of cameras. And I was like, oh, it's probably just like a folklore thing that they, whatever, talk about. And then one of the things we did when we were down there, we went to pick chestnuts at this chestnut farm.
Yeah, chestnuts roasting on an open
Yeah.
fire. Jack Frost nibbling at your nose.
And after we did that, as we were like leaving and talking to the lady who like runs the chestnut farm,
Yes.
we were like, oh yeah, like really cool, like now, like we didn't really heard much about it. And then like this tiger stuff we really thought was cool.
Yeah.
And then I was like, have you seen it? So she's been farming there for about like 10 years now.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, once I've seen it. And she was
But
like,
she legally has to say that as a resident
no,
of
but
Nannup.
like the way she told it, she was like, yeah, it was like, it was like early morning, and I went, like, she had this whole story about it, and then she's like, yeah, and I like looked up on the hill and I saw this, I would call it a creature, like I saw it. And then she was like, but it was a chocolate brown, which, I thought
Yeah.
the Nannup Tiger isn't chocolate brown. So I just thought, who knows what it was, didn't think anything about it. And then she was like, but then like a few, like, I don't know if she said years or months later, but then she said there was like an expert came to like do a talk
Yeah.
in the town about it, and he was saying that there are different families of it,
Oh.
and one of the families is chocolate brown.
Wow.
So then she was like, so I have seen it. And then
So retroactively,
yeah,
she has
was
seen
like,
it.
it must have been. And then she also talked about, she was like,
How big is it in comparison to a dingo?
I'm not sure because it's make believe. But then, because she had cows and sheep and all this kind of stuff. So I was like, well, if they're around, like, are things
yeah.
going missing?
Yeah.
And she was like,
What are they eating?
she was like, all farmers around here, like all farmers that have been here for a while, they've all seen it.
Oh.
And then she said, there was one time when my like grandkids were coming up to visit,
Here we go.
and
And 3 came.
they're like,
and
and
only
when,
2 went home.
they're like, and when we were driving, we'd like picked them up from whatever, or maybe they were in town and they came back,
Yeah, yeah.
and they were like, oh, when we were going to town, there was a big kangaroo, like like the boom, like a massive one,
6'5".
dead on the side of the road.
Oh,
And she said
nice.
this thing was like massive.
And this Bellina just wrapped around.
Yeah. And then, she was like, and then we came back and it was gone. And we were like,
Oh, fuck off.
we were like, no, and then she said that, she was like, yeah, it had been dragged into the bush. They found it had been dragged into the bush and it had been eaten, its like brain and also like its heart and stuff had been eaten. And she was like, so I think it was the Nannup Tiger. But she just told it in a way where I'm like, this isn't
I have
the
to
vibe
believe
of
it.
someone who's like, oh, this is fucking hilarious. These tourists are believing it. She was like, because even she was a little bit like,
Yeah.
didn't really want to talk about it. And then we were like, oh, like really interested.
Yeah.
But she was obviously like, I don't want these like city folk to like make fun of me. I'll say that for the pod. But yeah, I was like, afterwards, I was like,
Ooh.
geez, I reckon it's real.
It's like that scene in Fantastic Mr. Fox where they're looking up on the hill at
And
the other fox, right?
The wolf.
The wolf. Yeah, yeah.
Canis, lupus, lupus.
Yeah.
We might have to do an inquest ourselves.
I reckon we should. We'll do a tour. First one to find it and kill it wins.